I was cleaning the kitchen after hosting my in-laws when my husband whispered, "You should be grateful they even showed up." His mother smirked and tossed her wine glass in the sink. "You'll never be one of us," she said loudly. That night, I slept in the guest room. But 3 months later, I walked into that same kitchen wearing a suit and holding a letter that said, "I've been married to Craig for almost 10 years. We met in Chicago at a bar I almost didn't go to." I was 29, working in HR, fresh off a breakup with someone who cheated. Craig was charming, said all the right things. His confidence filled a room. He talked about loyalty, family values, how he wanted something real. I believed him. The first time I met his family, I should have run. We were only dating 6 months, and he invited me to Thanksgiving at his parents' house in Evanston. His mother, Roberta, gave me this long stare when I walked in, like she was sizing me up for something she didn't want to buy. She barely spoke to me the whole night. When I offered to help in the kitchen, she said, "I think you've done enough already," even though I hadn't done a thing yet. Craig laughed it off. I wish I'd listened to that first gut feeling. Over the years, Roberta made it clear I wasn't good enough. Too middle class. Not polished enough. She constantly compared me to Craig's sister Georgia, who lived off a trust fund and ran an interior design Instagram that mostly showed other people's work. Everything Roberta said to me was coated in sugar but aimed to cut. "Oh, you work in HR? That must be such a practical job." Or, Georgia had her first child by your age. Craig never said a word. He'd just shrug. That's just how she is. When we bought our house in Oak Park, I was the one who found the listing, arranged the loan, handled the closing. Craig barely lifted a finger. But Roberta told everyone, "Craig really found them a gem, didn't he?" I tried to swallow it. For years, I did. But this last Thanksgiving, I broke. I spent 2 full days cleaning and cooking. I made sure every damn dish Roberta liked was on that table. Craig? He watched football, ran to the store once for wine, and then acted exhausted. When everyone finally sat down to eat, his family barely said thank you. They picked apart the food. Georgia asked if the turkey was dry, and Roberta said the stuffing was a bit heavy on the sage. Craig laughed with them like it was a roast and not my work they were mocking. After dinner, they left everything. Dishes everywhere. I started cleaning up quietly, like always. Craig walked in, stood behind me, and said in this cold, flat voice, "You should be grateful they even showed up." I froze. I turned around, water dripping from my gloves, and looked at him. Not angry, just numb. "Grateful?" I asked. He didn't answer. Then Roberta walked in, holding her wine glass like it was a scepter. She walked over, looked me up and down, and with this tight little smirk, dropped the glass into the sink. The wine splashed on my shirt. "You'll never be one of us," she said. Loud. Like it was a fact. Like she wanted me to hear it echo. Georgia laughed from the hallway. I didn't say anything. I didn't cry. I just finished cleaning the kitchen while they drank in the living room. That night, I slept in the guest room. Craig didn't even ask why. The next day, I started writing everything down. For the next few weeks, I played the part. I still made coffee in the morning. Still asked about his day. Still smiled when Roberta called and Craig put her on speaker, even though my stomach turned every time I heard her voice. But behind the scenes, I was gathering everything. I started checking our bank accounts more carefully. That's when I found a $25,000 withdrawal from our joint savings. No explanation, no heads up. Just gone. I waited a day, then asked Craig casually over dinner if he had moved some money. "Oh, yeah," he said, barely looking up from his plate. "I invested in a side business with Georgia. She's opening some boutique or something. She needed a partner." I blinked. "You didn't think to mention it?" He shrugged. "You've never really understood that side of things." I stared at him, silent. That money was supposed to be for our bathroom renovation. We had mold in the upstairs shower. I had been living with a broken vanity for 3 months. I told my lawyer the next day. He asked for documentation. I pulled bank statements, receipts, emails, everything. Then I got bold. I logged into Craig's laptop while he was at work. Found the operating agreement he signed with Georgia. He'd forged my name to authorize the withdrawal.
Sloppy, too.
The signature didn't even match mine. The betrayal wasn't just emotional anymore. It was financial, legal. Meanwhile, Roberta ramped up her campaign. She started visiting more often, sometimes unannounced. She'd bring over boxes of George's old baby clothes and tell me I should start thinking seriously about children. We had been trying for 2 years. She knew that. One afternoon, I overheard her in the living room whispering to Craig, "You don't have to chain yourself to someone just because you made a mistake 10 years ago. You still have time." Craig didn't defend me. He never did. I stopped sleeping in the same bed. I stopped cooking. I started locking up my personal files. He noticed but didn't ask. I think part of him knew what was coming but didn't believe I had the spine to do it. But I did, because the worst was still ahead. I found out that Georgia had been listed as co-owner of a second property Craig purchased 6 months prior. With our credit, my name wasn't anywhere on the deed. But when I called the mortgage company pretending to inquire about our loan, the account pulled up with my social security number listed as a guarantor. He had used my credit. Without my knowledge. Without my consent. My lawyer smiled when I told him. "They've handed you your divorce on a silver platter," he said. 3 months after that Thanksgiving dinner, I walked into the kitchen wearing a tailored black suit and holding that envelope from my attorney. Divorce papers. Full financial documentation. And a cease and desist order preventing him from making any more financial decisions using my name. He read it twice. "You can't be serious," he said. Roberta stood up like she'd been shot. "I am," I said. "And this isn't even the real part yet. Because the revenge I planned? It was going to hit them where it hurt." The day after I handed Craig the papers, I moved out. Not to some hotel or a friend's couch. I moved into an apartment already in my name, leased 2 weeks before. I'd paid for it with money I transferred quietly into a separate account under my maiden name. My lawyer had helped set it all up. Everything clean. Legal. But I wasn't done. I filed a formal report with the Illinois Department of Financial and Professional Regulation. Georgia wasn't just running some boutique. She was trying to get licensed as a financial consultant. And guess who she used as her business reference?
Craig.
The same Craig who forged my signature and used my credit to buy property behind my back. I handed over the forged documents and screenshots of texts where Craig mentioned pushing a loan through quick using my info. It wasn't just unethical, it was criminal. Then came the media hit. I knew a local blogger. Someone I'd helped years ago during a company layoff crisis, back when I still had faith in people. She ran a suburban-focused finance and home ownership blog. I gave her everything. The article hit 2 weeks later. Local family faces lawsuit after alleged financial fraud involving forged spouse signature. No names, but enough details for anyone who knew us to connect the dots. Roberta's country club friends definitely figured it out. She called Craig 6 times the next day. "I know because he left me a voicemail. You've made your point. Take the post down. You're ruining our lives." I didn't respond. But the worst twist? I found out the affair wasn't just emotional. 3 years ago, while I was going through fertility treatments, Craig had a short-lived fling with someone he met at work. I only found out when the woman, let's call her Melissa, reached out to me after the blog post. She had no idea he was married. He told her we were separated. She left him after 2 months when he got weird and controlling. She sent me screenshots. Dates. Photos. One of the pictures was taken in the same damn living room I hosted Thanksgiving in. I had been cleaning the baseboards when that was happening. I forwarded everything to my lawyer. Now the divorce included not just financial fraud but marital misconduct, which, in Illinois, still plays a role in how assets are divided if one party can prove emotional harm tied to specific behavior. Craig started panicking. He tried calling my sister, emailed my boss, told people I was mentally unwell, that I was going through something and taking it out on his family. But the difference now? No one believed him. Because I had proof. And my revenge? It was just about to turn final. 3 months after the blog post went live, I sat in the courtroom across from Craig for our first hearing. He looked thinner. His hair had started to gray in patches. Roberta sat behind him in a navy pantsuit, lips tight, eyes cold. Georgia wasn't there. She had her own problems now. The judge reviewed the documents. Financial misconduct,
Forgery.
unauthorized use of credit, evidence of an extramarital affair, and a detailed financial breakdown that my attorney had spent weeks building. Craig tried to argue that the property with Georgia was an opportunity and that I always trusted him to handle money. The judge wasn't moved. My lawyer presented side-by-side comparisons of my actual signature versus the one Craig forged.
Clear.
Obvious. Fraud. When the judge ruled, it wasn't just a divorce decree. It was a statement. Craig was ordered to refinance the second property in his name only within 30 days or sell it. Reimburse the $25,000 taken from our joint account, plus penalties. Transfer sole ownership of our Oak Park house to me, debt-free, as part of the settlement. Because of the misconduct, I was also awarded full claim to the remaining joint savings, and Craig was denied any spousal support. Roberta gasped when the judge said, "This court finds the respondent's actions to be deceptive and financially exploitative." But it didn't stop there. George's application for financial certification was officially denied, pending investigation into her part in the fraudulent property transaction. Her boutique closed within a month due to the bad press and lack of capital. That night, I returned to the Oak Park house one last time, to pack the few things I still cared about. I found a letter slid under the door. It was from Craig. It said, "You destroyed everything over a few mistakes. You embarrassed my family. I hope you're proud." I laughed out loud. Because yes, I was proud. I had given everything to that family. I bent myself into pieces trying to be good enough, only to be mocked, ignored, and used. And when I finally stood up, they called me crazy.
But now?
Roberta was a pariah in her social circle, whisper fodder at brunch tables. Georgia was broke and bitter, selling her furniture online. Craig? He moved into a rental and tried to start over, but his name was dirt in every local business network. As for me, I took a new job in a new city, Madison, Wisconsin. Got an apartment with sunlight in every room. I sleep through the night now. No guest room. No second guessing. And every time I think about that night in the kitchen, about Roberta smirking and saying, "You'll never be one of us," I smile. Because she was right. I was never one of them. I was better. And I proved it.